All right. What? Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about Stranger Things Season 2, Episode 7, The Lost Sister. Completely, wow. This is shit. This is something a little bit different, or at least I feel like it has the potential to be a standalone episode outside of this, because you take Elle, you put her in this, other area, this other place, dealing with the continuation of her story, but it has such a different feel and vibe and look, and I loved it. There's one scene especially that was like a callback to Star Wars that was like, what? She's a beast. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So we kick this off with Jane and her aunt talking about the other kid, who we know is number 8, and then being in the rainbow room and stuff like that. Now, I'm real curious about the other kids. I'm assuming we might find out about them, whether they're alive or dead or discarded or whatever happened with them. 9, 10, and what about 12, or what about 7, or are they all just dead and gone? Was 8 and 11 the only ones? I'm assuming we'll either hear something later on this season or possibly next season, because I can't figure out how 8 connects to the rest of the story, because by the end of this there would have been the perfect opportunity to say, hey, come with me, but we know they didn't go that direction. So I don't know, would they leave it like this type of cliffhanger for number 8 for the whole new season of season 3? That seems like I don't know. I'm really interested in that. But anyway, so we get the numbers. I'm sorry, Jane comes, 11 comes to meet number 8, and she finds her in, I believe her name's Callie, right? Callie. Her and her crew, like an 80s rock punk band looking crew, and they show the numbers on the arms. That was actually really cool. And then she hears Hopper's message. I thought that was kind of a bummer that she didn't hear his message in the last episode, but they show us now that she did hear it. And I'm thinking they did that for a reason. Not only are they in 2 different areas and they couldn't, ruin it and show her in the previous episode where she's at and how she's in the black and she hears it and she's not actually there, but now we start piecing the timeline together, and they do that again later this episode, which is really cool. And we'll get to that in a second too. But so she hears this message, and then Callie takes her outside. I'm hoping I'm saying that. I'm going to call her number 8. I believe it's Callie, but she takes her outside, and this is where I started getting the Star Wars vibes. She takes her outside and says, hey, pull this train to you. 11 does it, and she can't do it. And then Callie was like, well, you said you lifted a van, I forget what she said, but then she said, just channel something that pissed you off. Channel, you were taken prisoner, your life was ruined, what they did with your mother. And I'm thinking like she's using anger to control her power, or to give her more strength, or to harness her focus, yada yada yada. Instantly I thought of the dark side in Star Wars, how you have the good and the bad, and that's what Vader says too. So we won't get into that, but anyone who watches Star Wars knows that's the dark side. You give in to the anger, and it gives you more powers or more strength, more capable, and yada yada yada. So then they got really cool music. A nice soundtrack plays where she's trying to find somebody who is the person responsible for shocking her brain. Walking Dead fans know who this is. It's Otis. Yeah, Otis kicking and screaming. Well, let's not get to that real quick. They go to a gas station. They rob it. She took me by surprise a little bit by throwing that guy into the wall, but he pulls a gun out. And yeah, she's acting out at this point in time, but clearly she didn't just kill the guy, so she still has this edge about her, and that's what I was wondering. This line she won't cross as of yet. So they didn't take her all the way over to the dark side yet. But that was just a simple little rob in the gas station and then getting out of there. And then they get to Otis's house. I don't know his name in the show, but we're gonna call him Otis from The Walking Dead. And he reveals that Brenner's alive. And I don't know if this is something he said just to save his own ass, or it's something he said because it's true, which is difficult for how they're going to explain this if they do decide to show him alive in season 3, because Brenner, last we've seen, he was attacked by the Demogorgon. So they would have to really, pull some slick shit to for us to believe that he made it out of that situation. But if he did make it out of that situation, I would definitely believe that they wouldn't want him being the face of the research community, especially with the town and Hopper being the connection that, keeps them working in the shadows and stuff. He would never work with Brenner the same. You know, he would never work with him at all. So that's why they brought in the Sam guy. Anyway, so Brenner's alive, and as of right now, we don't know if that's real or not. We got a couple episodes to go, but holy shit, this is where the big Star Wars moment happens. Kali, number 8, reminds her, oh, he didn't show your mother mercy. It wasn't just following orders. He could have made the choice to not do it, and yada, yada, yada. And then it pisses Elle off, and she decides to choke him out. Not only choke him out, feeding off the anger, like the dark side, but like Darth Vader, doing it where he would hold out his hand and choke his lieutenants and captains that didn't follow his orders or mess something up. So she's choking him out. They got this music, this score that underlines what's going on. And I don't know, something about it. It wasn't like a ripoff of a Star Wars beat or the Darth Vader soundtrack. It wasn't a ripoff of that. But it had a similar vibe to it, with her hand outstretched, choking him out, using like force powers or force-like powers, and then feeding off the anger. I don't know, the music, the score. Not only did it look awesome, and I'm putting the picture on the screen because that shit looked awesome, sounded awesome. Such a great moment in the story that I was loving the shit out of this moment. This moment was badass. And then we have, so she doesn't want to kill him. So again, they show how she's not ready to cross that line yet. Maybe not yet, maybe never, but she doesn't want to cross that line. There's kids there, and she doesn't want to kill their father and this, that, and the third, and ruin a family like what they did to her. And they don't cover this in the show, but it's covered in other TV shows where she doesn't want to do what he did because she's better than him. Morally, 11 is better than him. What he did was he destroyed a family. He took a woman and took her life, essentially, ruined her life, basically killed her, all right, when he was involved in shocking Elle's mother. Not only that, but he was involved in and helped in destroying a family and taking a parent away from her child. Elle's not going to do that because Elle, morally, you know, she's better than that. Love that little moment. Again, they did not bring that up, and it's probably easy for a lot of people to watch this and not even make the connection and just simply write it off as, oh, she just doesn't want to kill him because of the kids and yada, yada, yada. But I think that is such a strong and powerful scene that I loved. So then Kali gets in her head, has Brenner come into the room. It's not really Brenner, but she's making Elle see that it's Brenner, and he starts talking about the rot and the spread, and he repeats everything we heard before with Hopper and Will, how it's spreading and it wants to kill. And instantly I thought of the vines, and I'm thinking, man, you know, I wonder what direction they're going to go with this, because there's still room to build off the connection between Elle and the Upside Down and the vines and the rot and the killing, as if that's part of her. I know there's some fan theories out there. I always had the theory that usually when she was in the black, she's seen an organism that already existed outside of her. Like, she's in the black, that's her zone. And then there's this Demogorgon that lives in a dimension. Once she touches the Demogorgon, she causes a tear in the dimensions. And then, so these organisms exist. Like, they're not her, but she does open the gate. That's how I saw it. That's how I still see it. But I know a lot of fans I've talked to think that the monster is Elle. They even cover that in season 1, and they're covering it a little bit here, dropping some kind of hints. I'm still in the belief that the Upside Down is its own dimension, and Elle didn't create that. Like, the Demogorgon isn't like a part of her or nothing. It was a being that she touched, and because of that, it made a split in the dimensions and all that. So, you guys can leave your thoughts and opinions. What do you think about that? But that got me a little bit worried. Like, maybe they're gonna tie that in down the line with her. Anyway, she sees that Hopper's in danger and Mike's in danger, and we get an awesome scene where the cops rush in. And I love the writing so much, because a lot of times in movies that aren't as enjoyable, my brain will go, wait, why don't they do this? And the writing will never do that. Like, for example, the cops run in, my brain instantly goes, what's there to worry about? All she has to do is pretend that, or have the cops think that they're not there and they won't see them, because she already explained that she can do this, she has this power, and then just, instead of seeing them, see posts or poles to hold the building up. and that way the cops won't walk into them. You get it? Like, if I was a pole instead of a person to a cop, and you can make him see that pole, then he would walk around the pole, and there's no worry about. And they didn't cover the pole thing, you know. They kind of added more tension, and I understand why they did it, because now the cops are and you don't. Oh no, don't let them touch the cop because then they'll get discovered. But I love that the fact that she went there and was like, okay, just don't move, hold still. It'll be like they don't even see you, because that's something that immediately I thought of, because it fits in that world and that power. Again, writing characters that do things that aren't completely dumb, that aren't convenient simply for the plot. Like, she has this power so the cops don't see her, and they utilize that, and I loved it. So we get to the moment, one of my favorite moments, and I was like on the edge of my seat, like, oh, Elle, you are the best. They go outside, they get in the van, they're gonna drive off. The girl has them see this wall come up, so there's this moment between number 11 and number 8, and 8 says, oh, she had it so perfect. 8 is like, they can't save you. Come with us. They can't save you. And Elle was just like, you know, I know. I'm going to save them. And I was like, oh, I love you, Elle. You are the best. That shit was badass. And then, how did it end? But I can save them. Oh, but I can save them, she said. And then they transition. I love this. They transition the sad 8. And I did feel for 8. I mean, she did say that she always felt incomplete, and then when 11 got there, she did feel complete. So I really want her story to continue. I can't fathom a way possible, unless she shows up out of nowhere. I don't understand the connection. Or maybe 11's going to save them and come back out and find her again. But it just seems like a lot going on in this season, and we're almost near the end. But they have the reflection of her sad face, number 8's, in the window of the van. And then they transition to the sad reflection of Elle, and they fade one out and fade the other up. And then she's on the bus going home. Love that transition so much. There was just so much to that transition. And again, that's how they ended that. That's how they ended that episode. But the sympathy there for number 8 and feeling bad for number 8, but also understanding 11 and her choices, it made me want to go, oh, just bring 8 with you, you know. But at the same strength, there's probably going to be a connection later on. They'll probably regroup or reunite down the line. Anyway, that's it for 7, The Lost Sister. Again, it felt like it could be its own little standalone thing, not story-wise, but vibe-wise. You know, it was just so different from what's going on back at Hawkins. Anyway, I loved it. Again, holy shit, we got 2 episodes left, and Stranger Things Season 2 continues to be a beast. Thoughts, theories, predictions, suggestions, anything you want to talk about, put them in the comment box down below. I'm diving into the next episode called Mind Flayer. I can't wait. All right, I'll see you guys in the next review.